was written in my genes, I'm the chosen one. The fine print said I might be the only one. It's a lonely road that I walk through. Things I pass on these streets will haunt you. People hate what they see, but it's all cool. People hate when I speak, cause it's all true.
Squad, back at y'all with another video. Today's conversation is gonna be spiritual warfare. We all deal with spiritual warfare on some sort of level because spirit is on the inside of you. The inside of you is where your pure energy lies and your dark matter energy lies. So within those two opposing forces, you have to find a way to balance them and bring everything into harmony. So spiritual warfare is nothing more than the war inside you between your higher and lower frequencies. So when you're operating on a lower frequency, you're going to be having emotions that deal within despair, fear, anxiety, depression, envy, greed, jealousy, all that type of stuff. But when you're on your higher frequency, you're dealing with emotions of love, purity, excitement, joy, gratitude, appreciation, those types of emotions and energy. That's what's flowing through you. And what you want to do is you want to be able to control that war that's within you, because when you're not in control of your emotions, that's what causes things to go crazy and you have chaos within your life. So you'll be having these super big highs and super low lows instead of being more on the intermediate or balanced or equilibrium side of yourself. You know what I'm saying? You want to be balanced and know when to utilize the dark and know when to utilize the light and not let it take over you. And in order to be able to do that, you need to be able to harness your energy. And how do you harness your energy? You focus on controlling your emotions, because when you can control your emotions, then now you're not letting your emotions dictate what's going on to you. You're dictating your emotions. So no matter what happens in any situation, you look at it, you decipher it, and then you respond instead of reacting out of emotion. When you're letting your emotions be in control of you, then when you have a situation or you have a circumstance within your life that brings forth this strong emotion, if you let yourself go into that emotion right away instead of pausing, reflecting, and then deciding whether that emotion is something that you want to embody or you want to feel it and then let it pass and then respond in the way that you need to respond. So it comes down to having emotional control within life. That's the key to life. Like when I figured that out, it made things a lot easier, because now when you can remove your emotions from something, and when I say remove your emotions, it doesn't mean that you don't feel whatever it is that you're gonna feel, but you understand that whatever you're feeling is temporary, because your emotions are fleeting. So in one moment you can feel a certain way, you might be happy, but something happens, and then the next moment that makes you feel sad or makes you depressed or makes you anxious or whatever it is, whatever it flows to within your energy field. When you're riding your emotions and letting your emotions dictate where you go, that's when things become unstable within your life. But when you can control your emotions, so if something happens and you can step out of your emotions and look at it from a broader aspect or a broader perspective, then you can see if that emotion that you're feeling within the moment is actually valid, or is it just a natural reaction that you have that you've built up from things that have happened in your life in your past. And that's what I had to learn. A lot of our reactions aren't even how we naturally want to react. It's just a built up pattern from the things that we've dealt with in our lives. So when you deal with these things and something similar, even though it's not the same, but something similar might pop up, it'll take you back to that scenario you were in, and then that emotion that you felt within that scenario reemerges, and now you bring that emotion into this situation, which has nothing to do with that old situation, but because it feels familiar, then it takes that same type of energy. But when you're in control of your energy and something like that happens, when you think about it, you will take a step back and take a second to think about it and say, wait a minute, I know this feels the same, but this isn't the same as what I went through back then. And when you can do that, that's when you unlock a new power within yourself, because now you are in control. You're not letting your emotions and these situations in your life control you. You are taking the time to control your energy because you have control of your emotions. And I'm telling y'all, if you can get that down, that's the key to life. When you can learn to not take things so personally, and remove yourself from situations and think about it from, if you were to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, because it's hard when you're in the middle of something for you to look at it from a broader perspective if you haven't practiced this technique. But if you can look at it and say, look at it like, say, if you like paint yourself as if it's not you, but it's somebody else going through it, and what would you give that, like what advice would you give that person? Then it takes your emotions of being within it out, and now you're on the outside looking in, and now you can look at it from a different angle and see different things that you weren't seeing when you were caught up in your emotions and your feelings. So that's what it comes down to. When you're dealing with spiritual warfare, it's really just your emotions on the inside of you. And if you're not in control of your emotions, it can get the best of you. But when you do start to control your emotions and not let them sway you and not bring yourself down to a lower frequency consistently, then you'll be able to overcome that spiritual warfare that you have, because now there is no war within yourself, because everything is working together. You know what I'm saying? When you can get everything inside of you to work together and not be like internal fight, then your external world will reflect that, because your reality is nothing more than however you're feeling on the inside. So when you understand that feelings control a lot of your actual reality, when you start to find peace and happiness and love and tranquility in your life, now you're able to see that reflect on the outside. But if you're caught up in emotions that make you feel, or if you're caught up in situations which are going to breed emotions that have you feeling unstable or chaotic or lustful or greed, filled with greed or envy or jealousy, when you're feeling those types of emotions, then you're on the lower end of frequency, and it's going to reflect on the outside of your world and your reality. So that's what spiritual warfare is about. It's internal, because the spirit lies within you. It's not outside of you. It's not something that you have to go find somewhere, or you don't have to go to some sort of building and get on your knees and pray. You don't have to look in this book. It's all inside of you. And when you can get control of your insides, then you can control your outside reality, because everything manifests in the spirit first and then in the physical. So however you're feeling and whatever you're thinking is really past tense, because once you feel it or think it, it's now in the past, and now however you felt within that present moment is going to reflect later on in your actual physical world and in your near to be present. So when you get that concept down and you understand how energy flows and energy works, then things aren't as complicated as they seem on the outside. Because when you get it's like if you have a manual to life, you know what I'm saying? Or if you have a cheat sheet to a video game that you're playing, or you know what I'm saying? If whatever it is, when you get something and you got to build it and they give you the manual and they tell you to do this, and this, it's the same thing. When you understand and start to learn these things about life and learn these lessons and then implement them, that's what makes your life easier, and things come to you with less effort. Yeah, you're still gonna have to put some effort in, and you're still gonna have to make sure that you're residing in a good energy, but things aren't hard. It's not a lot of stress and chaos. When you understand that everything starts with energy, like I always say in my videos. That's the key to life, and a lot of the energy that is floating around in life is controlled by emotion. And when you can get that down, I'm telling you, when you can get control of your emotions in any situation, if something happens and it seems bad, but you can treat it as if it's not a big deal and really feel like that on the inside, that's gonna completely change your existence and how things flow. Because it's never about what happens to you, it's about how you react to what happens to you. So what does that mean? It's never about what happens to you, it's about how you react within your emotions, how you allow yourself to move based off of what happens. And that's the big lesson that we all have to learn within life, is that not every action deserves a reaction. Sometimes the best thing to do is not to react at all. Oftentimes the best thing to do is not to react at all. Even if you feel some type of way, sometimes the best thing, or most oftentimes the best thing, is to take a minute, take a breather, feel however you're gonna feel, but then really analyze the situation, and don't let your emotions have you making an impulsive decision in the moment because you feel some type of way about something, because it can come back to backfire on you later on down the road because you weren't in your right mind. Because anytime you're working off a strong emotion, even if it's good, it doesn't have to be negative, it could be good. Like something can happen and you can feel really good about it, and then you react off of that. That can, just because it feels good, doesn't mean that that's the right decision to make within that time period, depending on what it is. So that's why you have to be careful, because your emotions can have you thinking things or feeling, not even, because that's what it is. Your emotions can have you feeling like something is one way, but in reality, it's a completely different way. And when you run off your emotions and you're not making sound, logical decisions, that's what's gonna mess you up, and that's what's gonna cause you to have this internal warfare, because now you're not even going to trust yourself, because you'll make a decision and feel like it was good in the moment because you felt like it was good, but then later on it blows up in your face, and now you're mad at yourself because you made the decision, but it was because you didn't take the time out to really analyze the situation and take the feeling out of it and see whatever it is for what it is. Because again, when it comes to human beings, a lot of our situations are predicated off of emotion, but a lot of that emotion is something that you had instilled within yourself 9 times out of 10, because from a childhood and your upbringing, what you were taught and the things that you endured as a child, and that molded you to create a certain system with how you internalize and how you work through situations, good and bad. And because of that, it makes it hard for you to live a quality life as an adult, because you're still operating from the mindset that you had when you were a child. And when I learned that for myself, like when I actually broke it down and realized like a lot of my triggers came from my actual childhood and how things happen, and the behavior patterns that I built from trying to cope with the things that happened in my childhood, and I faced it. That's when I actually gained control of my emotions, because I realized, okay, those triggers I have came from this scenario or this scenario when I was a kid. And then when you realize that, now you can take the power back within yourself and say, okay, well, I'm not going to allow what happened to me as a kid to dictate how I'm going to move in my present day life, because I'm no longer a kid and I have more control over the situation than I did when I was a kid. Now I'm an adult and I have 100% of the control of how I'm going to allow my emotions to work and how I'm going to react to situations that occur. And when you take control again of that power, that's when it reflects in your actual everyday life, and you have now built a better behavior pattern for yourself when it comes to dealing with situations, and therefore now you have built a better life existence, because now you're in balance, and there is no internal warfare anymore. There is no internal spiritual warfare. It's just you in a balanced state, and now because you're balanced, you're at peace. So when you need to use your light, you use your light. But when you need to tap into your dark side, you can, because now you've mastered both sides. And that's what it comes down to. That's what the spiritual warfare that you're feeling, that's really what it all comes down to. It's happening because it's pushing you to try to figure out a way to balance yourself and become harmonious being in this world, so that you can become the best version of yourself. And being the best version of yourself starts on the inside first, and then it reflects on the outside. So you can do all the learning that you want. You can go into the gym and work on your body and get as fit as you want. You can read as many, or you can work on your characteristics. But until you work on the internal things, your internal issues that you know you have on the inside, until you face that and create a better way to deal with those emotions when they arise, then you can never really become the best version of yourself, because you're not in control of your emotions. Once you can control your emotions, then you're off and running. Now life is much easier, because you're not going to get rocked off your square, or you're not going to your foundation is not going to be crumbled by something that happens. You're going to be able to stand strong within your temperament and the way that you move in order to sustain a good quality life, because you've now sustained your emotions in a productive way. So that's spiritual warfare. At the gist of it, it's just your internal battle with whatever you got going on. You know how in the cartoons they would have that one scene to where it would be like the character would be an angel and a devil, and the angel's telling you one thing and the devil's telling you the other thing, and they're both sitting on your shoulders. Well, that's just a depiction of your inner self. You have both of those. Everybody has that within themselves. Everybody has those voices that tell you to do good things, and those voices that tell you to do the bad things. And what you need to do is get control of those voices and say, I'm in control. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this is how I'm going to move. And yeah, that lower frequency is still going to be there, but you're in control of it. So you're like, I'm not allowing you to sway me to do whatever you want me to do. This is, you're a part of me, and I'm in control. So since I'm in control, now I'm going to steer this ship, and we're going to go the way I wanted it to go, instead of allowing your emotions. And what is those depictions? Those are nothing more than your emotions, your positive and negative emotions. Instead of letting your emotions dictate the situation, you are in control, and you manage them the way that you want to, the way that you should. You know what I'm saying? After you learn whatever lessons that you need to learn in life. So that's just some words of wisdom from me. Don't be too caught off guard by your internal conflict. All you have to do is just dig into your past history, figure out what it was that caused you to have the trauma that you have, or the triggers that you have, work on it, soothe that, and then move on. You know what I'm saying? Forgive yourself, forgive whoever it is, move on, so that you will no longer have a spiritual warfare on the inside. And when you can come to peace with the things that happen to you, or the things that even that you have done to other people, and forgive whoever hurt you, forgive yourself, maybe make amends to it with whoever you made it with whoever you need to make amends to, and by doing that, it'll release some pressure off of you, and you'll be able to live a better quality of life. But all right, y'all, it's the big homie. I'ma holla.
It's about time to clock in. I put a lot of time in, locked in, picking my time to get it poppin'. Watch it, no facing me now, I got it dialed in. Got the beat ticking, kicking it like I'm Shaolin. Extend on my arm, fire it like I'm Dao Sim. Stretch out a thought, incredible how my mind bends. Create a whole verse, I'm biblical with this God pen. Mind so pure is rare, looking at my gym. Every bar I pull is a rep, welcome to my gym. No trainer, pushing up weight, don't gotta spot him, no brainer. None of you lames could top him.